Alright, so at the end of my Why It Sucks episode for Transformers 2 Revenge of the Fallen, at the end of it I said, if anyone has a movie that they want to see me watch and review, leave a comment or video response. And the first one that came up that I saw was Paul Blart Mall Cop. So, I don't remember the YouTube user that commented for it, but whoever it was, this is for you. So, I watched Paul Blart Mall Cop. It was pretty bad. It was the lame, obsessed guy who was obsessed with his job, cliche, but ends up being a hero because of his duty or whatever. And that's what happened. I mean, in the first 2 minutes of the movie, they pretty much point out that this movie is going to have a lot of fat jokes based on, that picture there. That's actually 2 minutes into the movie. You see, in case you didn't know, Kevin James is overweight. This should help out because you see the sweat stains underneath his chest and stomach area. So the very beginning, Paul Blart is taking his test to become a cop, but he passes out because of hypoglycemia. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's when your body doesn't have enough sugar in it, you pass out. And this comes into play like 3 or 4 times throughout the film. And it leads to jokes like, hey, I'm about to pass out, can I have some pie? Sure, you can have some pie. Oh, on that pie, can you put whipped cream and maybe a Twinkie? Paul Blart is working security, and a new security officer is coming, played by the guy who played Todd in Wedding Crashers. So Paul is starting to teach him, the basics of how the mall is handled, all the security issues that go down. He is obsessed with this girl played by Jama Mays, who I already had kind of a bias against because she was in an Epic movie. And if you've seen any of my other videos, you know how much I hate Jason Friedberg and Aaron Seltzer. So, seeing that was the first movie I saw her in didn't really help out her cause. Like, Kal Penn was an Epic movie, but I saw him first in Harold and Kumar, or in Van Wilder, like those kind of movies. And I'm like, oh, this guy is funny. And then I saw that, I'm like, oh, dude, you can do better. But her, that was the first impression I got from her in Epic movie. So, she didn't speak a lot in Paul Blart, which I think was better. She was the love interest, which is hard to believe because I would say she might be 10 to 13 years younger than Kevin James, so it's just weird to see him and her trying to be together. She's cute and all, but just not his, level of dating or a relationship, I would say. The thing that was weird is that this movie came out January 16th, 2009, but it's like revolving around Black Friday and Christmas time. See, I don't know why they didn't release it 2 months earlier, like right around Thanksgiving. Like, I know Twilight came out the middle of November. Why didn't Paul Blart come out the week after? It would have been perfect. It would have come out on Black Friday. I don't know why they did that. But it's just weird to see because you're finally done with the holiday season and then this movie throws you right back into it. But, I mean, the whole shopping thing is pretty much toned down once the movie starts going. But Santa's helpers are actually thieves. And then it turns out that the recruit that Paul Blart is training is the head of the thieves. So the recruit that he's been training learns all the security about the mall. So it just makes, that was actually a really well planned part of the script. I know it's been done before, but I didn't see that coming at all. The group of thieves are probably all professional BMX riders and skateboarders, because they all ride bikes and skateboard around the whole time. It seems to be the only way that they get around this mall. They have tattoos that say BMX and stuff on them, so I'm sure the casting director just had a casting call for anyone who can skate or ride a BMX bike, and these guys came, and she was like, "Oh, you guys look perfect, and you look like you could be criminals too. Let's put you in this movie." So that happened, and then there's some, you know, gags with skateboards and stuff like that, with flying off of roofs and jumping roofs and falling into ball pits. But then once Jayma Mays and there's 8 other people get taken hostage by the thieves, the SWAT team comes, and the leader is the guy who was like the head of the CIA or whatever from Snakes on a Plane, the guy who was traveling with the Venom doctor, who's like, "Oh, how long can we expect until we get these people off this plane? How long's that gonna be till we get the people cured from the venom from the Snakes on a Plane?" He came and he knew who Paul Blart was because they went to high school together in New Jersey. And he's like, "Oh, Blart, he's never amounted to anything. He's lame. And it's gonna take a SWAT team that I lead to get in there and get everyone out." But then it turns out that he is working with the thieves as well, which came right at the end. Didn't see that coming, because I'm sure nobody did, because it really didn't make any sense. It was never explained, his background with the group of thieves, why he was working with them. It's just once everyone got to safety, he pulled out a gun and was like, "Oh, you're done, Blart," or something like that. So that was stupid. Then there was Rock Band in an arcade, which I'd never seen before, and Paul Blart was playing Detroit Rock City from Kiss, which just pretty much built up a montage of everyone getting captured in the mall. I've seen other reviews on this movie, and everyone's saying the same thing. Kevin James is such a likable guy, but he's never had a fully major role where he is the leading character. He's been a leading character, like in I Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry, but he's with Adam Sandler. And in Hitch, he's with Will Smith. He's never been by himself in a leading role. There's that movie that's always on, I think it's called Scorched or something. It's always on Comedy Central. Him and Ray Romano, which was crazy, you know, 2 CBS sitcom stars together in a movie, but you know, no one's ever heard of it, and always just reruns on Comedy Central. But for him to be in a leading role, it was not a good first choice. You know, as an actor, you do stuff for a paycheck, but he was a writer on this too, and I would think he would be more clever with that. Like The King of Queens has great stuff in it, and other stuff that he's been in is really funny. His stand-up, like Sweat the Small Stuff, is great stuff, but I just don't know what he was thinking with this. It's a kid's movie, but there's a lot of adult stuff, not like swearing like Transformers had the stupid swearing and stuff, but you know, kids don't want to see adult romance, I wouldn't think. I mean, for a kid's movie, it revolves all around adults except for his daughter. But, you know, she's only in, like, the beginning and the end. Some of the things that were really dumb. The movie takes place in New Jersey in the Orange Mall. Like, there's West Orange and East Orange. It takes place in the Orange Mall. But besides Paul Blart wearing a Devils jersey, there's no reason for this to take place in New Jersey. The movie was filmed in a mall in Massachusetts. So why didn't they just make it Massachusetts? I guess because the only Massachusetts hockey team is Boston, and that's being too narrowed down. When New Jersey Devils, it's not just a certain team, it's the entire state. So if that's the only reason to pull off that gag where he has to wear that jersey, that does not make any sense. Usually movies about, you know, single parents, they take a dramatic route, like, oh, they're divorced, or one of the parents died, or like in a car accident or some fatal disease or something. But this movie, the mother was deported, and that's how they solved that problem. she was an illegal alien, and the only reason why she married Paul was to have a green card, but something fell through and she got deported. But Paul Blart's daughter is a heavy Mexican girl, and she's there. Doesn't really add much, but doesn't take away much, so it's kind of a neutral thing in the middle. This movie was, for a while, for like 2 months or so, the highest grossing movie of the year. It came out January 16th, like I said, and it went on to make as of right now, it's made like $150 million in the United States alone, which is not bad considering the budget was, I don't know what the numbers were, but I mean, I would say the budget maybe was 30 million or less. And, to make 5 times that is really good. And I don't know why I made this much money, but I'm okay with it because, it wasn't marketed huge to me. I didn't go into it, like when I saw ads for it, I was like, oh, that looks dumb, but it could be good. Not good, but entertaining to say the least. But I never saw it in theaters, and I just watched it now, 5 months after, 5.5 months after it's been out, and I know I didn't see it in theaters. Now, for those people who did, I mean, $10 a pop, that's 15 million people went to go see this. That's like New Jersey and a half. I'm sure there are people who were like, oh, this is a great movie. Yeah, the plot's good, the acting's good, and whatever. It's no award-winning film. It doesn't like drag on. There's no slow parts where you're just like, oh, when's this gonna be over? It's just, there's a lot of filler that's stupid. And if that's all the movie's gonna be made up of, why even make it in the first place? It is a movie geared for younger audiences, so I mean, that's probably why I didn't get as much out of it as I thought I would, but I'm not upset about it. Not as much as Transformers. So overall, I would give Paul Blart a C, a solid C. It's not the worst film ever, but it's certainly very, 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 very far from the best film ever. But I mean, with all the movies that there are, I'm not surprised. Now, don't get me wrong, the movie is watchable, but I wouldn't go out of my way to try to find it on TV or on demand or anything. Like, if I never see it again, I'll be okay with it. I don't feel like it needs a second viewing. It's one of those kind of movies where it's just like, yeah, I saw it. No big deal. So, like I said before, if you have any movie that you want to see a review of, my review of, leave a comment or a video response. Make it a movie that's pretty mainstream that everyone has at least heard of. Like, I got a request for Plan 9 from Outer Space, which is an Ed Wood movie considered to be the worst film of all time. If you've seen the film Ed Wood, the Tim Burton movie with Johnny Depp, you see them making it. Ed Wood, by the way, is a fantastic film. But you see them making Plan 9 from Outer Space, which has become like a cult classic. But not a lot of people have heard of it yet. But if you have a movie that has been regarded as very popular, or at least somewhat popular, that you think other people have heard of, just leave a comment or video response and I will do my best to get it reviewed for you. That's it for this edition of Why It Sucks. I will see you next time with another movie. Take care.